Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to use the map functions in a project. For a project, 3 levels of maps are available. A small map is included with the itinerary and rates, showing the route which the itinerary follows as illustration and context. The itinerary map focuses on tracing the route of the itinerary in more detail for use during the tour. Access maps focus on access to a specific provider, also for use during the tour. To access the itinerary map, under Print, click on Itinerary Map. You can either select the full itinerary or day by day. The full itinerary displays the route from in to out with a flag for airports and accommodation. Below the map is the list of flags and what they represent, with GPS coordinates and addresses. This serves as a summary of the route, distances and travel times for the itinerary. For a day, for example, day 6, the itinerary map displays the route for that entire day with markers for all the services along the way for which GPS coordinates have been entered. Below the map is the total travel distance and time with step-by-step directions for the day. When a selection is made, the zoom level is set to allow the whole itinerary trace to be visible. Compare, for example, the full itinerary where the scale bar is set to 200 kilometers, day 7, where the scale bar is set to 20 kilometers, and day 8, where the scale bar is set to 10 kilometers. To optimize the display, it is possible to zoom in by double-clicking on the map, or by clicking on the plus, or to zoom out by clicking on the minus. Or you can click and drag. The aim is to display as much as possible information while keeping the start and end visible. Sometimes, for example day 2, the zoom level is fine, just a bit of clicking and dragging is all that is needed. Mostly, for example day 3, both the zoom and the position are fine. The itinerary maps day by day can be printed and included in the brief for guided tours. Click Print and Print. Although normally this is not necessary because guides and drivers know the way. Itinerary maps can also be used to check the order of services for a day, that there are no pointless back and forth traveling or extreme distances. For example, for day 5, it is clear that there is a problem. The map indicates a large circle tracing and the travel distance is more than 900 kilometers for the day. The route traced on the map is as proposed by Google. Sometimes, given our knowledge of ground conditions, we may prefer to propose a different route. In this example, from Swaziland to the Kruger area, the recommended route is via Jeppes Reef and Malalaan rather than Barberton. To change the route, point the cursor at the blue tracing where it's incorrect, for example Barberton, until a white dot appears. Then click and drag to where it should be, for example Malalaan. The route will be retraced accordingly. If a mistake is made, click Reset Changes to start over. Click and drag and continue until all the necessary corrections have been done. For example, the route to Casa de Sol is via Hazyview. Point at Kippersol, click and drag. Click Save Changes. The change will not only be reflected for that day, but on the full itinerary as well. And also on the access map. For FIT projects, normally only the full itinerary map is printed and included in the FIT booklet. Day by day, clients choose their own route depending on the activities they decide to do, so the day-by-day itinerary map is not very useful. To print, select the language, for example, French. Click Print. Note both the map and the flags indicated. For access maps, under Operations, click on Access Map. The access map focuses on access to a specific provider, mostly accommodation, but in fact any services for which GPS coordinates have been entered and access maps are managed. When a provider is selected, for example Mantenga Lodge, the map traces the route from the previous provider with the GPS coordinates, here Sambane Coffee Shop. Below the map is the total travel distance and time and step-by-step directions for the route shown. The way the map is displayed when a provider is selected is not always optimal. For example, Summerfield does not display much useful information, neither street names nor nearby landmarks or towns. What zoom level works best depends from provider to provider. The aim is to have an optimum balance between detail and context. The person using the map needs to know as much as possible about the exact location, but also context. For example, for Vineyard, in the city, the zoom should be close enough to see street names. As much as possible of the route should be visible, and ideally a major road. Click and drag to display more of the route. And Fort Louis River Lodge, for rural properties, the zoom should be further out. And ideally, a major road or town should be visible. Here, the town Shushului and the road, the N2. For Summerfield, similarly, zoom out and drag down so that the airport, Manzini, and the major highway becomes visible. And for Casa do Sol, zoom out and drag until Hazyview becomes visible. Note that changes to the display are not saved. Whenever a provider is reselected, the display needs to be adjusted again. When the language is changed, the display also needs to be adjusted again. So select the language you want before starting to make any changes. Once you are satisfied with the display, click Print. Both the map and the step-by-step directions are included, with the display as adjusted. Access maps are normally included in the booklet given to FIT passengers. They can also be given to guides or drivers when a new provider is used. And that is it. Thank you for watching.